We bring you the latest edition of MBC News with me, Kumbukani Piri, and our sign language interpreter is Linley Mponda. Our top stories. President Professor Mutharika stresses the importance of maintaining peace and political stability in the Southern Africa Development Community SADC region. Government dismisses claims of security lapses in the country. And in our special report, we explore the connection that exists between the scrap metal business and vandalism of electricity supply property. I'm glad you could join us. Our top story tonight, President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika has stressed the importance of maintaining peace and political stability for the Southern Africa Development Community SADC region. He made the remarks at Kamuzu Palace in Lilongwe during a meeting with a SADC panel of elders to discuss regional peace and political stability. Mwaim Tumodzi reports.
President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika commended the SADC panel of elders' work, noting that SADC member states are interconnected and that conflict in one member state affects the entire region.
Today we received former President Dr. Jakaya Kikwete of Tanzania and also former President of Malawi, fourth President Dr. Joyce Banda. They came here to brief us on various aspects of peacemaking and peace building in the SADC region.
The meeting was attended by former Tanzanian President Jakaya Kikwete, who chairs the panel, and the fourth Malawian President Dr. Joyce Banda, who is the Vice President of the SADC panel of elders. During the meeting, Dr. Kikwete briefed the President Mutharika on mediation efforts in Democratic Republic of Congo, Lesotho, Madagascar and Mozambique. He added that the visit aimed to update the President's guidance in his role as chairperson of the SADC organ on politics, defense and security cooperation.
We came here to brief him on the work of the panel of elders so far. And since the panel, of course, is the operational arm of the organ, we also came to receive instructions from him now and guidance. So we spent time to brief him on the work we've been doing in Lesotho, the work we've been doing in Mozambique, the work we've been doing in the DRC, and the work we've been doing recently in Madagascar.
Meanwhile, Dr. Banda expressed appreciation for the trust placed in her to mediate peace efforts in Madagascar.
It is very rare to find that you get an opportunity to meet the chair of the Troika, to sit down and listen to what you're doing and together map the way forward.
The engagement forms part of the ongoing consultations with regional leaders on peace-building efforts in Southern Africa. Mwaim Tumodzi, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah has expressed gratitude to the German government for its steadfast support across critical sectors of Malawi's development. Speaking during a courtesy call by the German ambassador to Malawi, Ut Konik, Dr. Ansah described the strong relationship between the two countries as vital, as evidenced by continued support, particularly in technical training and vocational education. The Vice President said Malawi is keen to leverage Germany's expertise to modernize its training institutions and industry, as well as collaborate on curriculum development. Details in this report by Chinsinsi Moyo.
The Vice President, Dr. Ansah, on Friday held talks with the German ambassador to Malawi, Mute Kon, aimed at strengthening bilateral cooperation between the two countries. During the meeting, Dr. Ansah emphasized that Malawi values Germany's continued presence and its significant support in key sectors aligned with the government's development agenda. She highlighted technical and vocational education and training as a top strategic priority, noting that government is committed to revitalizing technical colleges across the country. Dr. Ansah added that Malawi considers Germany an ideal partner in efforts to modernize curriculum and strengthen skills development in the sector. In her remarks, German Ambassador Ute Kon announced that the German government has committed 68.8 million euros to Malawi over the next 2 years to support various development interventions, including education and economic growth initiatives.
I informed her that we were very happy to commit 68.8 million euros again to Malawi for the next 2 years for our support in the fight against hunger, poverty, in health, in social cash, in good governance, and more income and jobs in the rural areas. The Right Honourable Vice President also mentioned other fields where Malawi would like to see more involvement on Germany, like, for example, the technical vocational training, and we informed her about what is currently also going on.
The meeting between Vice President Dr. Ansah and the German ambassador to Malawi, Mutikon, underscores the strong and growing partnership between Malawi and Germany. Chinsisi Moyo, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Minister of Homeland Security Peter Mukito has dismissed claims that there's a breakdown of law and order and a collapse of the security system in the country. Mukito said this in Parliament when responding to concerns raised by members on the status of security in the country. The minister has since assured Malawians that the country's security is firmly under control. Beatrice Mape and Catherine Banda have compiled a report.
Responding to questions from the members of parliament on the issue of security, the minister says although there have been a number of murder cases recorded and general security concerns in the country, people should distinguish perception and verified incidences. Mukito says the country's security is firmly under control, stating security agents have intensified efforts in intelligence raids, investigations and patrols, among other things. Additionally, the minister has lamented the increasing cases of mob justice, stressing that it is unlawful and will not be tolerated in the country. He has since warned those committing different crimes that their days are numbered, adding government will not allow them to undermine the country's peace and stability.
Yes, there have been isolated criminal states, and each one is taken seriously and acted upon decisively. However, there is no national breakdown of law and order. There is no collapse of security system. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Malawi Police Service is fully seized with the situation and is indeed on top of the game.
Summarizing business for the week, Leader of the House, Jabi Mhango, has described the deliberations as successful, pointing out the passing of the 2026-2027 national budget as one of the major highlights.
The main business, key business that we had this week was the budget. And I'm glad that Parliament passed the budget on Tuesday because in that budget, that's where Malawians will get the development needs that they require from their government. So in a nutshell, the week has been very good. We also, as Parliament, approved the constitution of the fresh inquiry into the death of the former Vice President, late Saulos Klaus Chilima.
Mhango adds that deliberations resume after the weekend and the House will continue with the Amaryllis Hotel Cell inquiry, deliberate on bills supporting the budget and constituency reports, among others.
Chief Secretary to the Government, Justin Saidi, has described as timely a donation of 100 million kwacha from the NBS Bank PLC towards humanitarian assistance for people affected by disasters and hunger. Speaking in Lilongwe during the handover ceremony, Saidi said the donation will greatly assist in alleviating the suffering and meeting the needs of people affected by hunger and floods. We have a report.
Chief Secretary to Government, Justin Saidi, observed that the country continues to experience extreme weather events such as the heavy rains, tropical cyclones, floods, droughts and prolonged dry spells, which have rendered millions food insecure. He said the frequency and magnitude of these events have increased, greatly affecting the country's socio-economic development. Saidi added that the donation from NBS Bank will help ease the suffering of affected population.
Well, as you are aware, we recently were hit by floods. Almost 23 councils have been affected, and we're trying hard to ensure that we support them, provide them food, and this money has come at the right time, and we are actually excited because His Excellency State President declared the state of disaster, And with his declaration, a number of organizations, both local and international, have been coming to support us. And we appreciate the effort that His Excellency State President is making, and also that people are responding positively to this.
On his part, NBS Bank Head of Government and International Organizations Mervyn Donga said the 100 million kwacha contribution is a part of the bank's commitment to supporting national disaster response efforts and helping communities recover and rebuild their lives.
One of our mottos is that we are a caring bank, but also we boast of caring a little more. And this gives us the positivity to say whenever any calamity befalls the nation or the people of Malawi, we are concerned because we know that some of those people that have been affected by any kind of disaster are our customers. And the only way to reach to them is also to support them through the government, which already has existing structures through DOTMA.
The recent rains and floods over the past week have affected 69,000 households, approximately 310,000 people, with 6,155 households displaced, 34 deaths and 197 injuries. Maim Tumodzi, MBC News, Lilongwe.
This is MBC News, a reminder of our top stories. President Professor Mutharika stresses the importance of maintaining peace and political stability in the Southern Africa Development Community SADC region. Government dismisses claims of security lapses in the country. And in our special report, we explore the connection that exists between the scrap metal business and vandalism of electricity supply property.
Uno ndi Kumalawi, dziko lodzaza ndi kuthekera maka iwo ogwira ntchito molimbika. Iwo ochita malonda ali nazo zifukwa zonse zopitisira patsogolo ntchito zawo, monga kukhala ndi yawo post office box. Ndi Malawi Post Corporation sizikutenganso mtunda wautali kuti mubwezeretse kapena kutsekula post office box ndi kuyamba kulandira makalata anu mosavuta. Kwa onse ochita malonda, makampani komanso mabungwe ndi zotheka kukhala ndi post office box yanu kapenanso private bag malingana ndi kukula kwa kampani yanu. Anzanu oona patali anatsekula kale yawo post office box ndipo mtima unachita zii pa nkhani ya chitetezo cha makalata awo chifukwa box yawo amatsekula okha basi. Mukatsekula post office box ndiyo khazikika, ndizothekanso kusamutsa box yanu kupita dera lina. Kuti mubwezeretsenso kapena kukhala ndi post office box, pitani ku post office yomwe muli nayo pafupi. Malawi Post Corporation, worth your trust.
Welcome back to MBC News. The Minister of Information and Communications Technology, Shadrack Namalomba, has pledged decisive action to tackle gender inequalities in Malawi's media sector. Namalomba made the remarks when representatives of the Association of Women in Media, AWOME, paid a courtesy call on him. Details in this report.
Speaking in Lilongwe during an interface with the Association of Women in Media, AWOME, Namalomba said women remain underrepresented in leadership positions across media institutions in the country. The minister emphasized the need to introduce targeted initiatives in schools and colleges to encourage girls to pursue careers in journalism and media management. He also raised concern over the challenges faced by women journalists, including online harassment and lack of formal benefits, especially among community radio volunteers.
And as we speak, about 2% of our women are in leadership position. And this is both in private sector as well as in public sector. And at the background that there is a law, Gender Act, where we are saying, of course, it's 60-40, but we are aspiring as a nation to be 50-50. So you can see, even when you benchmark it with a law, I mean 40% must be women in any position. But you look at the setup in the media industry, 2% women are the ones that are in leadership position. I think that calls for, and that calls for immediate action. And I assured the association that through the ministry we will work together to make sure that we address this imbalance.
Awome chairperson Dorothy Kachitsa welcomed the step taken by the ministry, describing it as a step forward in advancing women's participation in the sector.
The thing was to do with sexual harassment in the workplace, something which has been on the people's lips for some years. So the minister said this needs to be addressed, and as a ministry they are ready to work with us. Should there be any issues that we are facing or our members are facing, we should notify the ministry and they're going to do something about it. And he also talked about career talks or even mentorship for people or students who are studying journalism or communication studies in the universities or colleges in the country, that we can reach out to them and tell them how the media industry is and encourage the girls or students who are coming to the industry on how they can go about their daily activities or the job as pertaining to media in general.
The meeting ended with a commitment to introduce awards, capacity building programs and collaboration with the First Ladies Beam Trust to empower women journalists nationwide. McDonald Shwaira, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Now, in our special report today, we explore the connection between the scrap metal business and vandalism of Electricity Supply Commission of Malawi Eskom's property. The special report discovers that while the scrap metal market is fueling the vandalism, police are yet to find a solid link between the two. Justin Quill has more.
Stories about stolen Electricity Supply Corporation of Malawi Eskom properties, such as transformers and power cables, are not new. Stories about people dying in hospitals, people deprived of entertainment, people failing to have basic needs because of vandalism-induced blackouts are equally not new. Again, stories about Eskom spending billions of kwachas replacing vandalized properties are not new at all. Year in, year out, these stories are told in the media, at funerals, in churches, at gatherings, and all other places one can imagine. That has done little to deter some people from vandalizing Eskom property, costing the utility service provider billions of kwachas. Eskom Chief Public Relations Officer Pirani Piri says the electricity distributor spends an estimated 3 billion kwacha every year in replacing vandalized property. Piri says the vandalism is fueled by unregulated scrap metal market, which provides a readily available market for the stolen property.
These illegal acts disrupt our operations by diverting scarce resources away from new connections towards the constant replacement of stolen infrastructure, which in turn leads to prolonged power outages for our customers.
The scrap metals market is currently unregulated in the country. However, there is an association consisting of scrap metal traders which has membership across the country. Southern Region Scrap Metals Association executive member James Chalera admits that the scrap metal trade provides a readily available market to vendors of Eskom property. Chalera says in trying to curb the problem, they have introduced membership identity to easily trace those buying Eskom property and bring them to book. He alleges, however, that a parallel market from the association led by foreign nationals has emerged, which is buying scrap at higher prices, and this market is beyond their control and probably only law enforcers can help.
We have our eyes on the ground because we need to take away their business papers so that maybe we can deal with this problem of vandalism of Eskom property.
To confirm his allegations, recently, 2 Indian nationals were caught with 56 kilograms of Eskom copper disguised as scrap metal, and it was heading for the scrap metals market. While the link between the market and vandalism has been confirmed by both Eskom and scrap metal traders, and they are both banking on the police is skeptical of this link and says it has not established any from their operations. Beatrice Mikua is Southwest Region Police spokesperson and describes this established link as speculation.
The relationship can be there, but maybe as police we cannot say that we have discovered that relationship, but the speculations are like that there's a relationship between the vandalized equipments and the scrap metal market.
The police is a legally established law enforcer with 4 main goals when it comes to preventing crime. The first is retribution, the second is rehabilitation, the third is deterrence, while the last is incapacitation or removing danger from society. In this case, ESCOM and Scrap Metals Association have banked their hopes on the police to help in dealing with the vandalism of ESCOM property. If police can come in full throttle, arrest vandals, crack down on the scrap metals market and bring perpetrators to book, it will help to deter would-be offenders and remove danger from society to prisons. As the saying goes, nip it in the bud. The only way to deal with the vandalism of electricity supply property is to crack down on the scrap metal market by making sure that they do business in accordance with the law. If that does not happen, stories about stolen electricity supply corporation ESCOM properties such as transformers and power cables will not stop. Stories about people dying in hospitals, people deprived of entertainment, people failing to have basic needs because of vandalism-induced blackouts will not stop. And what makes it worse is that stories about ESCOM spending billions replacing vandalized properties will not stop. Justin Nkweo, MBC News, Blantyre.
Legal practitioners in Malawi have been urged to take a proactive and leading role in addressing escalating environmental and social challenges affecting communities living near mining sites. This appeal has been made by UNDP country representative Fenella Frost during the opening of the Malawi Law Society MLS Annual General Meeting AGM at Sunburden Coppola in Mangochi. We have a joint report by Secret Segula and Arthur Chokoto.
The conference, which is being held under the theme Environmental Justice and Human Rights and backing the role of the legal profession in promoting climate justice, seeks to emphasize the critical responsibility of the legal professionals in safeguarding vulnerable communities from the adverse impact of mining activities. Speaking at the event, Fenella Frost highlighted the growing concerns emerging from the mining-affected areas. She noted that communities are facing multiple environmental and health risks, including pollution, loss of livelihood, and limited access to justice. Frost warned that without strong legal oversight and enforcement, the negative consequences of mining activities could outweigh their economic benefits, particularly for already vulnerable populations.
Well, you know, the first message I had for the conference here, when I first came to this wonderful country of Malawi, a lot of people said to me, Malawi has beautiful policies, but often they aren't actually implemented. And I think that part of that story is about the legal profession, because many times there are policies in place, there are laws on the statute book, but they aren't actually implemented. And that means that the law profession needs to get more involved. And this really matters today because we know.
Echoing these concerns, David Njovu, president of MLS, stressed the importance of ensuring that all citizens have access to climate justice. He reaffirmed the society's commitment in raising public awareness on climate-related legal issues and called on legal practitioners to strengthen support systems for communities affected by environmental harm.
Timely that as a law profession, we have to lead the fight and the drive to make sure that whilst indeed we are focusing on so many other issues to do with commercial transactions and human rights, children and women in other spheres, we have to come back to address the issues of climate justice and environmental justice.
The AGM serves as a platform for legal professionals to reflect on their role in promoting environmental justice and to develop strategies that enhance legal intervention in climate justice, among other issues.
Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, Jameson Ndalama, has welcomed the request by the Netball Association of Malawi NAM to consider introducing incentives for companies which support netball and all sports in general. The request has come from NAM President Vitumbiko Gubuduza, and Ndalama says it has come at a right time.
Yeah,
I think that sports development is a collective effort. I think that more companies need to come in to support teams and to sponsor sports, because in part they are taking the responsibility of the government to develop the sport, grassroots development and so on, and we believe that if government can put in place tax incentives, for instance, and consider those companies that are also sponsoring and investing in sports, I think that we would get more support as an association generally, not just NAM, but generally from a lot of individuals. I believe that we could get businesses to come forward, and the benefit would be for the associations as well as the sports. And then we would not always have to rely on the Malawi, the ministry or the Malawi government for advancement of sports. So I think it's something that they need to look into. So that they create an environment where businesses and companies are encouraged to come forward. And
this request has come out at that time because we are reviewing the national sports policy. So these issues will be put into that.
And on a sad note, Chief Presidential Advisor on Religious Affairs, Apostle Timothy Koviwa, has said President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika is deeply saddened by the death of Associate Professor Timothy Nyasulu, who until his death was the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Livingstonia. Apostle Koviwa delivered the eulogy at St. Andrew's CCAP Church in Mzuzu during the funeral send-off of late Reverend Nyasulu. Blessings Gondwe reports.
Hundreds of people gathered at St. Andrew's CCAP to witness funeral send-off of Reverend Associate Professor Timothy Nyasulu, who was the Vice-Chancellor for Livingstonia University. In his eulogy, Chief Presidential Advisor on Religious Affairs, Apostle Timothy Koviwa, said President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika is saddened by the death of Reverend Nyasulu, who was committed to the development of the country in different areas. According to Apostle Koviwa, President Mutharika has condoled the bereaved family with 5 million kwacha.
The President, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, is very much touched because he was his friend. They used to talk, they used to chat, and his loyalty to the nation was unquestionable. So as a government, we have lost a man who had this nation at heart, and above all, who wanted well for this nation by educating the generations for the future. As religious leaders, we are also touched completely because the time we are living in, we need people who are well-learned, even to have the wisdom to preach the word of God and also to educate the mind and the soul.
CCAP Synod of Livingstonia General Secretary Reverend William Tembo says the church has suffered a major loss spiritually and academically.
We will miss him as an advisor. We will miss him as our lecturer. He taught many of us in the university. We will miss him as a friend. Professor Timothy Nyasulu, he never looked at the size of someone. He was friendly to every person. And yet, this was a person of great honor. But he used to be very simple, down to earth. So we will miss him.
Apart from being Unilia Vice-Chancellor, late Nyasulu was also chairperson of Tobacco Commission. Reverend Nyasulu, 64, passed on Tuesday this week and will be buried at Ekwendeni Mission in Mzimba on Saturday. Blessings Gondwe, MBC News, Mzuzu.
Well, may the soul of Reverend Nyasulu rest in peace. Well, that item also wraps up this edition of MBC News. A reminder of our top stories. President Professor Mutharika stresses the importance of maintaining peace and political stability in the Southern Africa Development Community SADC region. Government dismisses claims of security lapses in the country. And in our special report, we explore the connection that exists between the scrap metal business and vandalism of electricity supply property. For the latest